so much for allowing us to be here today. This presentation is about Natura, a Brazilian cosmetics company whose motto is well-being and being well. My name is Ilya Mog, and I am Senior Vice President of the YEP Consulting Group. And today, I will be speaking to you about our recommendations on how Natura should enter the U.S. market. Here to assist me with this presentation are my colleagues Kevon Mosley, Naomi Campbell, and Kevin Cohen. So here's the agenda for today. We're going to do a company overview, our strategy, the marketing plan, the financial forecast, and recommendations. So we have been retained by Natura to help with key decisions relating to this potential international expansion. So why should they go into the U.S. market? Why not? The United States is the largest market in the world and provides Natura with plenty of opportunities to grow. We recommended yes, and our job is to help them carry out this plan successfully. We've found a location in the U.S. that is aligned with their cultures and values. We've also taken into consideration their past experience and used it as an advantage, and we've created an effective marketing and distribution plan. Right now, I'm going to tell you about a story. There was a man named Luis Antonio Seabra, and he was the manager of a small cosmetics lab, and he saw an opportunity to take advantage of Brazil's abundant biodiversity and use it in a new line of cosmetics. At age 26, and only with $9,000 in startup capital, he founded Natura. It had started out as a small boutique store with a small lab in an upper-class neighborhood in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And over 38 years, with now $2.4 billion in revenue and over 700,000 consultants, Natura has become a leader in the industry of cosmetics, fragrances, and toiletries. To this day, Natura continues to use the biodiversity of Brazil in its products and has not forgotten Seabra's original vision of harmony with oneself, with others, and nature. If they have grown this much in 38 years in only Brazil, imagine how much more they could grow if they entered the U.S. market. Here to go into further detail about Natura's domination of the Brazilian market and international expansion is Kevon Mosley.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevon Mosley, and with the assistance of my colleagues, we will be discussing supporting recommendations on why we feel Natura should expand into the U.S. market. The graph to my left shows the CF&T market that is attractive globally. Our main focus will be on Brazil and the United States. With only 96 and 168 CPI, we can see that there is room for growth. The second graph shows Natura continues to lead the competition in growth for Brazil and CF&T products. As you can see, Brazil sales have reached $18.2 billion in 2006. As part of the first phase of our marketing plan, we feel that Natura should open up a retail store. When in France, Natura was able to open up its first retail platform, and from this venture, they were able to create their first e-commerce platform. This enabled the consumer to build a relationship and purchase products directly from the company. With over 400 sales representatives in France, it is evident that retail stores and internet communication have played an important role in Natura's marketing plan. As part of our second phase, we recommend direct sales. Direct sales is important because it shows that Natura can be successful internationally, and it is one of their key marketing strategies that enables them to build long-term relationships with their consumers. Avon has used this method in Brazil and has achieved 13.6% market share, and they were also very successful in the United States. However, when Natura used this method in Mexico, they saw that. However, when Natura used this method in Mexico, they saw that they were not able to use this due to traffic and road concerns, and this created an opportunity for them. To overcome this, they joined forces with some of Mexico's local subsidiaries, thus increasing market share. Now, some companies may become intimidated by the competition overseas, but that was not the case for Natura. International expansion leads to tailored product development. When Natura first expanded into France, they saw that L'Oreal and Avon were key competitors, with Avon selling its products significantly cheaper. This created an opportunity for Natura, and this is when they introduced their Equals brand, which recognizes the company's commitment to sustainability, nature, and relationships. Now, at this point, I would like to remind everyone that Natura can be successful internationally and in the United States. For example, if you compare the United States to, let's say, Argentina, ask yourselves, which recession was worse? The obvious answer being Argentina. Argentina was the first country for Natura to test its internationalization strategy. However, in 1999, the economic crisis occurred. This created an opportunity for Natura, and they needed to rely heavily on their cultural background. Natura was able to trade short-term profits for long-term relationships, again, emphasizing their key values. Natura was then able to achieve 12.6% market share, and by 2007, the Latin American operations outside of Brazil had achieved over $36 million in sales revenues. Now, at this point, I would just like to remind everyone that Natura can be successful internationally. And it would be unfair for me to list Natura's strengths without mentioning some of the challenges that they've incurred while overseas. What are some of these challenges, you might ask? First of all, there are key cultural differences. In their society, when Natura first expanded to Mexico, they saw that there were cultural differences and they did not anticipate them. In their society, women played a key role as consumers, and they were expecting more from Natura's products. Also, employee management is important because one can never anticipate the amount of training required and how time-consuming the process can be. Employee turnover in Mexico was a staggering 56%, while in Brazil it was only 9%. Also, when trying to expand into the United States, there will be other companies trying to lobby against your brand. However, as consultants, we feel that Natura can overcome these challenges. Now, when Natura tries to expand into the United States, we've considered a few states as our options, such as New York. But California was the key winner due to large Latin American consumer base, its large agricultural base, its high level of consciousness to beauty and fitness and health, its higher demand for organic and social products, and its strong fitness and sun worshippers. Now, if Natura can overcome the challenges such as the ones that they faced in the United States and in Argentina, then there is no doubt in our minds that Natura can be successful internationally. Now, over to my colleague, Naomi Campbell, who will be discussing Natura's SWOT analysis.
Bonsoir. I was presenting to you the SWOT analysis of Natura entering the U.S. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. First, I'll be highlighting the strengths. One of the key strengths that Natura has are their product distribution. They have established their first retail store in the heart of France, a very complex market. However, was able to achieve success, which is why we recommend that Natura uses a similar strategy when entering the U.S. market. Now, product innovation. Natura, from the experience of internationalization, Natura was able to learn how to adapt its products in each market. For example, because of the climate conditions in Mexico, Natura had to change the formula of their fragrances to adapt to the heat. Similar in the U.S., Natura must be able to modify their products to these diverse needs. Moving on to broad market segmentation. Natura has already established themselves in Latin America and Europe. 16% of the U.S. population are Latinos, and 12.9% are African Americans. Natura has already established themselves and are familiar with the Latino community, which gives Natura the ability to really tap into the African American community. Now, one of the key elements to Natura's success are their key values. The key values are having that relationship with oneself, having that relationship with others, and harmony with the environment, which supports their philosophy, to having that relationship with the community, and creating environmentally friendly products and packaging. With today's U.S. citizens becoming more aware of global warming, animal extinction, and deforestation, they are increasingly turning to more environmentally friendly products. Now, going into the U.S. will have some challenges. First, concerning the lack of brand awareness in the U.S. This problem can be easily overcome by using different forms of advertisement. For example, traditional ones, such as sample distribution and commercials, or using more innovative methods, such as social networking and celebrity endorsement. Natura has a very underdeveloped distribution network in the U.S., but because of the close proximity to Mexico, they can use the Mexican distribution network. To be successful in the U.S., Natura must be able to recruit the right talent to effectively sell and distribute our products. Now, going into the U.S. is a huge opportunity for Natura. It is the largest CF&T market, and it will increase their market share and their profits. It would also increase their brand recognition and enable Natura to build global expansion capabilities in other countries. For example, in Japan, China, Italy, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Now, there will be some threats going into entering into the U.S. market. We expect the high intensity of competitors. Some of the competitors we expect to see are Gillette and Avon. Also, there's the problem of saturation of biodegradative products. But from patenting the extraction process, we can remove this threat. Also, the impact on the recession could be a problem for Natura. However, Natura has the flexibility to adjust its products to these diverse needs. Natura needs to deliver 3 strategic objectives to tackle the U.S. market. First, their alignment to their culture and values. Natura needs to focus on its environmental products and packaging appeal to the current U.S. green trend. Natura must also focus on the U.S. multicultural market. 28.9% of the U.S. population are Latinos and African American. Natura must establish networking in these communities, leveraging proven international capabilities. Natura has proven success globally. In 1999, Natura went to Argentina. Argentina was having one of the worst recessions in history, but was able to be profitable. In 2005, Natura went to France, a very sophisticated market, however, was still able to achieve success. In Mexico, they had to change the formula of their fragrances, yet they still were able to be profitable as well. Now, the effect regional marketing and distribution. Natura was able to establish a retail store in France while using local consultants instead of direct selling consultants. Now I turn it over to my colleague Kevin Cohen to discuss target segments.
Good afternoon, I'm Kevin Cohen, and today I'll be speaking to you about the first stage of the marketing plan, which outlines the strategies and identifies the target segments as we look to go into the U.S. market. My partner Ilya will be focusing on implementation part of this strategy. But to first develop the marketing plan, we looked at segments, the core segment and the secondary segment. The core segment is women. Women are the largest and strongest consumers of the CF&T market, cosmetics, fragrances, and toiletries. And we recommend that Natura start focusing on this market from ages 25 and up. We also recommend that Natura stick to its multicultural base. That means the focus should be on Blacks, Asians, Whites, and Latinos. This multicultural plan is similar to the one executed in Brazil, which gave Natura the necessary experience it needed to be successful. We also recommend that Natura focus on middle class men and women. Women are the largest consumers of their Ecos line, because it was environmentally friendly and it was priced premiumly, so it gave value wherever it was bought. In 1979, Natura launched its men's toiletries. Men's toiletries grew 8.6% in 2006, making one of the fastest growing categories worldwide. Now, I can't speak about segments without reviewing the secondary segments. Secondary segments like sun worshippers, ethnic communities, and mothers and babies. The sun worshippers are important because they love to be in the sun, so they're going to want a product that protects them from the sun's harmful rays and is comfortable to use. Next is the ethnic communities. Ethnic communities is important because it goes back to California's heritage, and it also aligns with its Brazilian and South American roots. Next is the mothers and babies. The mothers and babies is important because, like the sun worshippers, they need a product they can believe in. Remember, the mothers have to be confident in this product before giving it to their babies. Next, I will speak about the product mix. So the product is going to the U.S. market. The Ecos line, the Chronos line, and the Mama and Baby line. The Ecos line is important because it pioneered Natura's values. It used ingredients from the Brazilian rainforest. And in California, there are going to be a lot of economically focused people who want to buy a product that represents that focus. Next is the Chronos line, the anti-aging product, which is important because California is a very beauty-conscious state, so they're going to want a product that makes them look their youngest and best. Next is the Mama and Baby line. This is very important because for pregnant women who are going through a hard time, they're going to want a product that prevents stretch marks and keeps them hydrated. And for the new mothers and for the babies, shampoos and fragrances that is important for the well-being of the mother and baby. Now my partner Ilya will talk about the implementation part of the strategy.
So in conjunction to what my colleague has recommended, our marketing plan would consist of phases. And in phase 1, we would open a retail store in Santa Monica, California. You might be wondering why we chose this location, but the answer is quite simple. This location aligns with Natura's cultures and values and would allow them to use their international experience as an advantage. The majority of Santa Monica's population falls within Natura's core market segment, which is aged 25 to 34. A lot of Natura's secondary market segments can also be found in Santa Monica. Santa Monica has a large amount of middle-class Latinos, which would allow them to relate to Natura's culture. But at the same time, Santa Monica is a very multicultural society, which would allow Natura to benefit from its past experience in selling to different segments, such as skin color, hair type, and body type. Santa Monica is a beach community, so they are very conscious about beauty, fitness, and health. And because of the young demographic, they would be strong consumers of the Chronos line. This is a big opportunity for Natura. Santa Monica is also very conscious about the environment and social change, and this would give Natura a bigger chance of becoming successful. Kevin had said the products that we would use in the retail store, the Ecos, the Mommy and Baby, and the Chronos. And the pricing of these products would range from premium to low, and this is based on the growth of the different segments. Men's toiletries, sun protection products, and skincare products have the fastest growth. It is an emerging trend, so people value these products more. For this reason, these would be priced premiumly. Products such as baby care, deodorant, and makeup would be moderately priced because the growth is slower. And the saturation of products such as hair care, bath and shower, and fragrances are so high already in the market that these growths are the slowest. So for this reason, the pricing of these products would be low. So this is how we would promote Natura. The grand opening, and we could have 50% off during that week. We would also have our products available online for consumers outside of California. We would use social networking to advertise this company, so Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. We would also be pairing with nonprofit organizations to promote our values. We would be using recyclable paper as flyers and catalogs, and word of mouth would also be a good way of advertising. We would also use commercials and celebrity endorsements. So after about 4 years, after Natura has established some brand awareness, we would move on to phase 2. This is when we would begin using direct sales to promote beauty on the inside and out. By doing this, we're continuing to use Natura's best assets and building consumer loyalty. After about 2 years, we would move on to phase 3. This is after there's more demand for Natura's products and presence in other locations. This is when we would build more retail stores. This would increase revenue, brand awareness, and market share. So over 6 years, Natura has grown by 16.6%. But if they want to expand into the state, they have to look at some financial challenges they may face. Though they may have good brand positioning, the levels of brand loyalty are very low. And because there's a lot of competition, they may have some challenges there as well. But we're proposing a few things that might help them overcome these challenges. First of all, we would have aggressive advertising campaign to target the many segments. And we would also patent the process of extraction so that another company cannot replicate this process and become direct competition for us. So with this in mind, we anticipate that we would grow 3% based on the fact that we have capabilities and the growth in the North America industry is only 2.7. So we aim to be a bit higher. So once again, what do we recommend? A retail store in Santa Monica, California with e-commerce. Phase 2, we would start direct sales to promote beauty on the inside and out. And phase 3, we would have additional retail stores. Thank you very much for your time.
Can you give us an idea of how you plan to combat the fact that most of the CF&T products in the U.S. are sold through discount merchandisers?
Can you repeat the question, please?
The fact that this is an idea of your analysis around most of the products in the U.S. being sold through discount merchandisers and how your entry plan combats that particular fact.
Well, discounters would be a really big competition for us, but the fact that our products would have more value because we're using more eco-friendly product materials in our products. So people would want those more because, as Naomi said, America is right now in a green trend. So they're more environmentally conscious and socially conscious.
Getting into a new market out of your own country would mean a lot of investments. And therefore it's important to know what kind of return on that investment you will have. So have you attempted to do any financial analysis about what types of returns on the investment in the U.S. would be?
So like budget?
Yes.
Okay, well, right now, in 2008, is a time of recession. So real estate would be cheaper. So we would take advantage of that and open up a retail store so we get it for a low price. Our e-commerce, our website wouldn't cost that much. It would be a very incremental price. But for retail store, it wouldn't be as much as it would in, say, France, because we're entering U.S. during a time of recession. So that's cheaper as well. And we could also open a nearby warehouse to store inventory at a low price as well.
In your analysis, you know, the case talked about should you go into the United States versus Asia, India, some other countries. Did you take a look at, while the U.S. is obviously bigger, but not growing as fast, did you take a look at some of the other countries that may be growing faster than the United States and maybe think through whether they should be the choice of entry versus the United States at this point?
We've considered many other countries. Let's say, for example, the United Kingdom was not a very reasonable choice because there's way more people in the United States, which means that there's more chance for brand recognition and there's more people for us to sell our products to. Also, we've considered Japan, but that was not a viable option due to the fact that it did not have the multicultural platform that we were looking for.
In addition, we're only testing out the U.S. market. We're only testing another market, and we want to do that at a low price. And because the United States is closer to Brazil than like Japan or the UK, we would take advantage of that close proximity into consideration.
Just quickly, I like your strategy around your target market of women in the 25 to 34 range. There were also some data that suggested the value consciousness of the U.S. public. I mean, how do you suggest we address that particular demographic and that particular fact?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Questions around the value consciousness of the U.S. public and what strategies do you recommend to combat that?
So combat the interest of the public?
Public being very price conscious of products that they buy here in the U.S. versus your home market, the home market of Brazil and other countries around the world.
Well, as we said earlier, we've also mentioned premium pricing, and there's also moderate pricing. So in terms for those value-conscious customers, those customers where there's a high price and high value, there will be certain parts of Natura's product line that will be targeted to them, and there will be other products such as the deodorants and maybe toiletries that will be targeted to those customers who maybe cannot spend as much money but are still getting the value for their money.